Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig, it's 9 o'clock, it's time for another video. And today, I want to talk to you about something that I didn't think I wasn't going to make this video. I kind of questioned as to whether to make this video or not, because I don't want this to come across as a pity party, because that's not what this is intended for. This isn't like a video like, you know, I've made videos in the past, the end of Magic TV, when I was going through a lot of crap earlier this year. This isn't one of those videos at all. But it could be perceived to be one of those videos, and it's really not. And I don't want people leaving a comment down below going, ignore the haters, Craig. Ignore them. They'll go away if you just ignore them. This isn't about me ignoring haters or not ignoring haters or anything like that. This is me addressing a question that comes up an awful lot on this channel. And I kind of pay it lip service on the Q&A when it comes up, and it comes up quite a lot. But I thought I'd do a longer video on it, which is burnout, and more specifically, quitting Magic. Burnout and quitting Magic. So in other words, or quitting anything, but obviously this is a Magic channel, we're talking specifically about Magic. Because I get questions all the time on this channel, and it comes up over and over again. I feel burnt out, I can't be bothered to practice, I don't want to practice. Every time I think about watching a Magic video, I don't want to do it. I've quit Magic. You know, it's not something I want to do anymore. I've spoken to people actually that have left Magic, and they've come back to Magic, you know, for a variety of different reasons. Some people have come back because of finding these videos, and that's great, and that's all wonderful. But the amount of people that struggle with that, and it really frustrates them. And I think that one of the reasons it frustrates them is because they love Magic. And they keep thinking to themselves, I'm going to quit Magic, I don't want to do it. But they know they don't want to because they love it, but it's like something they're not enjoying anymore. I think probably the best thing to say is it's a little bit like being in a relationship that's not working anymore, right? You know, you kind of start off in love with this person, and everything's wonderful, but at some point you kind of go your separate ways, and you hang on in there together, and realistically the best thing to do would be to just like leave, because you're not doing yourselves any favors, right? It's kind of a little bit like that, and people agonize over this decision as to, should I leave, should I stay? And I wanted to address that, because here's the thing, right? I've quit a lot in my life. I've quit an awful lot. I've quit various different things actually through the years, but I've quit a bunch of things. Not necessarily Magic, although you could kind of say I kind of quit Magic for a while. But I've quit loads of stuff. So, you know, one of the first things that you guys will be aware of is when I left the Magic community all those years ago. I left the Magic community for about 9 years. And there were a few different reasons. I was going through a bunch of stuff. You know, Red had just happened. And off the back of Red, because I was the person that was always on the Wizard Product Review saying, you know, screw you guys, you know, I can't believe you ripped this person's trick off, and just being angry all the time. So when I did a similar thing, when I did something else and I ripped off a trick, rightfully so, the entire community kind of turned against me, and I was getting that, and the amount of videos that were going up about it, the amount of videos, they're still up there. They're still up there. They really are. It's not nice. And there was this thing at the time called, what was it called? Something to do with Magic. It was, I can't remember. It was this website, blog, that was related to Magic. And that guy just decided he really didn't like me, and he was just putting videos up, constantly taking the piss out of me. And it was kind of a thing. There was like multiple pages on the Magic Cafe. People had review sites and news sites, and they were talking about how horrible I was, and so on and so forth. And that coincided with these team building packages that I offered as well, and getting kicked out of the Magic Circle, getting into an argument with the president of the Magic Circle at the time. That coincided with a bunch of other stuff. And I remember turning around to Sarah and saying, well, I love Magic, but I'm not having a good time at the moment. I'm not having a good time at the moment. I'm not enjoying this, because every single time I switch on my phone, we were getting death threats, like proper death threats. We were getting emails, we were getting Facebook messages, a lot of them anonymous, and we went to the police at the time. It was horrible, and I said, I can't put up with this anymore. I can't concentrate on work. I can't concentrate on work. And at the time, I was obviously working. It was hard work to do the Wizard product review, because I had to go to rugby every week, and I don't drive. Northampton eventually it became, and I don't drive, and it took up a couple of days to do this. And I remember turning around to Sarah and saying, I'm doing this review show. Everyone freaking hates me. It's taken up 2 days of my life. I'm getting constant death threats. You're getting death threats. We need to do something about this. And she was like, just quit. Just leave it. Focus on your business. And that's what I did. I left the magic community. I quit the community. I carried on doing magic, but I focused on building a business. I focused on working with my business partner, Russell Leeds, and his wife, Anna Leeds, and my wife, Sarah. And we focused on trying to build a business, and that went really well. And in part, it went really well because I was no longer kind of worrying about the community. I was no longer worried about what the community was saying to me and what the community was doing, and so on and so forth. I could just focus on my business. But there's been times that I've wanted to quit before I went back to the magic community. So I went back to the magic community in 2020. In 2017, me and my business partner split up, Russell Leeds and myself. And some of you might remember Russell. He was a very, very, very good magician. In fact, if you ever see the bands that Joe Reinfluch puts out, the Legends bands, the yellow bands are named after Russell Leeds. He put out multiple DVDs on rubber band magic. He's incredible. And he decided to leave magic and get into property, and we'd been sort of best friends for a long time. And my wife and me had hung up with him and his wife, and then one day he sent an email saying, "Hey, calling it a day. We're going to divide up the company. We're going to figure out a way to move our separate ways because I want to go into property. I'm not going to do magic anymore." And at the time, that really hurt because we'd spent so long building the business up, and it was not a nice situation for me to get an email just going, "Hey, that's it. We're calling it a day." Now, time is the great healer, and these days I can see exactly why he wanted to leave, and he's been very, very successful in what he's doing, which is great. And I understand exactly what he did and why he did it. But at the time, it really hurt. And I remember turning around to Sarah and saying, "Well, let's just walk away. Let's just walk away. You know, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I'll do something else. You can do something else. We'll do something else." Because it's going to be very hard work to keep this business going without Russell there. And we were this close to quitting, this close. And we didn't quit. We carried on, and which was great. But that was another time that I wanted to quit. There's been a couple of times before that, actually, where I was close to quitting. I wanted to quit during COVID. I wanted to just shut the business down because COVID was horrible for everybody. But we were running a limited company. We are running a couple of limited companies. And because of that, we couldn't furlough ourselves and still keep the company running. It would be impossible. So, a lot of people were furloughed if they're in a job, or you got a grant if you were self-employed. We didn't get a grant at all. Being a business owner, operating from a venue, we got a grant for that. But the self-employed kind of thing, we didn't get that, and we didn't get furloughed because we had to keep the business going. So we worked so hard over lockdown, running virtual parties, basically to keep our entertainers in work. And I was literally working harder in lockdown than I ever have been. And Ryland was working harder in lockdown than I ever have been. And there were a couple of times during lockdown where I was like, let's just shut the company down. Let's just shut it down. Let's just not continue. So there's been times that I've wanted to quit. And what made me talk about this now is, and this is where people are going to say it's a pity party, but it's not. Because I'm giving you the backstory to lead up to the advice that I'm going to give you. This last few months, since Easter, there's probably been about 4 or 5 times where I felt like quitting magic again and walking away from the community, shutting down Magic TV. And I'm not. This is not the end of Magic TV, so please don't think that. But there's been 3 or 4 times where I felt like quitting. And the reason is, it's been very overwhelming. You know, you probably don't realise how hard it is to produce the amount of content that I produce, and keep it going on a consistent level. Like, I've just been away to Wales on holiday for a week, and I was getting up at like 7 o'clock in the morning and filming videos in the kitchen, and then we transferring them over to Michael in the office just so there were videos. Ryland's just done a tour around the whole of the UK with Killian, and the entire time that we're on that tour, when I should have been focused with Ryland, I was doing videos and sending them back for Michael. When I was in America, you guys will probably remember, I was in Vegas, I was in Columbus, and I was sitting there, even though I had an incredibly hectic schedule, I was sitting there filming videos and sending them back. And it's a full-time job just creating the videos for Magic TV. Like now, for example, I'm heading to Alakazam in like 4 hours. I'm going to be away for a week, and I'm sitting here in my man cave filming videos, because if I don't, they ain't going to get done. I've got no videos for this week, and Michael's like, we need videos. So I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to sit down and talk about a few different things. It can be hard sometimes, you know, like trying to keep this thing going. And I've made a promise that I will, and I do. But it can be very stressful. You know, I'm really good at organising my time. But when you're doing this many videos, on top of all of the stuff that I'm doing for, you know, it's that thing, isn't it? Craig's everywhere. You know, look at the Sticks project. I was on that. Next trick that comes out from Eric Stevens, I'm going to be on that. There's 2 or 3 tricks coming out from Murphy's soon. I'm going to be on them. A few tricks coming out from Penguin. I'm going to be on them. And then that doesn't even take into consideration my own stuff that's coming out. It takes a long time to film all of that stuff and get live performances, and really, because I don't want to half-arse it. I want to do it the best as I can. And then we're not even talking about what I do within my own company in terms of, you know, like running the everyday, you know, we're dealing with thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of shows every single year, like tens of thousands of shows every single year, and multiple members of staff in the office. And, you know, sometimes it can be like, right, my God, I'm sitting here filming these videos, but I really should be doing this. This hasn't been done. And if this isn't done, this is going to impact the sales on this company. I need to get this done. So I end up staying up till like 2 or 3 in the morning getting that done because I filmed these videos. And it's kind of very overwhelming, which is fine. I've always been able to juggle that and continue to have a home life, and continue to give my wife and my kids the love and support they want, and now manage Ryland, because he's busier now than ever before and way busier than me. But then I can manage it, but then there's times where I just think, why do I bother? Like, you know, I'm not going to go into it now, but you know that a lot of you will probably know I had quite a public back and forth with a Magic YouTuber a few months ago, and he said some very, very mean things to me, and things that, you know, he flat out, you know, called me a liar, and continues to reference me in various different comments from time to time, which is, you know, very hurtful with the stuff that he said. And off the back of that, I've always had a certain level of hate mail. I've always had a certain level of hate mail. But since that point on, it's got ridiculous. It's got absolutely ridiculous. Like, I'm probably getting about 5 pieces of communication a day. And 99.99% of them are from sort of anonymous email addresses and sources. And they say the most violent, horrible things. Before I went to Magic Live, Sarah was worried about me going to Vegas, because I probably had, I'm not exaggerating, about 100 emails from fake email addresses saying that if they see me in Magic Live, they're going to bury me in the desert, and that you know, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and this and that and the other. So you get all of that. And then I did a video while I was in America. You guys know that while I was over in the States, somebody reported me. The police came round the house and said, hey, is that Sarah Petty? Can we speak to you about domestic abuse claim that's come in anonymously? about your husband, and she had to sit there for an hour while the kids were sent to the bottom of the garden to play, while she was convincing them that I'm not a domestic abuser in any shape or form, and that whoever said this is lying. And it really shook her up, because she's like, no, I haven't seen my husband in like 4 weeks. I can't wait for him to get home. This is ridiculous what you're talking about. But you guys must understand that that sort of thing takes a strain on any relationship. And she's just like, oh my God, why is this continuing to happen? Just a couple of days ago, we had something put through I'm not going to say what, but we had something put through the door of our house that my dog almost ate, which would have killed her immediately. We're speaking to the police about that right now, along with other things, because we're printing everything off, we're cataloguing everything is getting printed off. I've had multiple people email my office, telling them that I'm this type of person, I'm that type of person, I'm the other type of person. My wife has had phone calls. My kids' school have had emails and phone calls, and it's all because of magic. It's all because of magic. Now, the reason I tell you this isn't, as I say, it's a pity party. It's to tell you that when I talk about overwhelm, I can tell you exactly. I can give you advice based on this, because honestly, throughout my life, I've been overwhelmed at various different points. Right now, as it stands, I'm probably as... Sarah said it best. She said, it's as bad now with the stuff that's happening because of the magic community. It's as bad now as when I left the first time round. And I left because I couldn't handle it. And it's as bad now. If not worse. And it's tough sometimes, purely because you get all of this hate, and it's kind of like, right, now I'm going to have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and spend 4 hours filming videos that I put on YouTube for free to help people. It's not like, I can understand why people hated me back in the day. I just ripped off Bob King's trick. I was involved in the whole thing between Jeff McBride and Wayne Dobson. There was a million different things. I kind of felt like, in a way, I deserved it, which is why I walked away, or one of the reasons I walked away. I don't feel like I deserve it this time. You know, I've done videos on this where people, you know, I regularly get called a bully. And I regularly get called a narcissist, which is ridiculous, because I really don't love myself. And I can't watch these videos back. I can't even have someone take a picture of me at the moment. I'm most definitely not a narcissist or a bully. But you get people saying that, and it kind of makes you think, well, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And I do it because of the people that it makes a difference for. Because there's lots of people that contact me and say, hey, you made a difference. You know, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be in magic. Or if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be in this position that I am. I'm now doing paid gigs because of you. I'm now doing this because of you. I'm now doing this because of you. And that's the reason I do it. But it's hard. It's hard sometimes. So the reason I tell you all of this, and as I say, it's not a pity party, because I'm not going anywhere. This is not the end of Magic TV. It's frustrating, but I'm not going to quit. And that's where we're getting to here. It's like advice for people that feel like they're wanting to quit. Now, I'm not saying that like it's because you're in the same situation as me. It could just be that you feel apathy towards magic. It could just be that you feel like you practice and practice and practice and you never get further on from where you are. It could be that you know, you just keep buying these tricks and not really learning them properly, and it just feels like a waste of time. There's lots of different reasons why people feel like they want to quit magic. So here's some advice. First of all, if you want to quit, if it's right, magic is a hobby. I'm going to assume that you're a hobbyist and this is not a professional gig for you, right? Because if it's a professional gig, there's other factors to take into consideration, like this is your income, right? But I'm going to assume that we're talking about somebody who performs socially. We're talking about a hobbyist. So the first thing I want to say is magic's meant to be fun, right? It's meant to be something that you do. You spend money. It's a hobby. You spend money on magic because it's a hobby. Hobbies, by their very definition, are something that you enjoy doing. It's something that you have a passion for. If you could honestly turn around and say that you don't enjoy doing magic anymore, if the thought of performing magic just fills you with dread, if the thought of practicing magic just makes you want to bury your head in the sand, then quit. Because ultimately, sometimes it's better to take 2 steps back and then take 5 steps forwards. And again, using the analogy that I used before about relationships, you know, there's been many times, I've got many friends that had a trial separation, and they realized that they actually did love each other, and they got back together, and now they're stronger than they ever were before. But then there's some people that walk away and they realize that they've made the best decision of their lives. And that's fine. If you don't love this, if you don't enjoy it, why continue to spend time and effort and money on it? You know, there's a million things that you could be doing. You could be spending time with your family. You could be doing another hobby. Anything. Don't spend time doing something that you don't enjoy. So if you're really not enjoying it and it fills you with dread, walk away for a bit. You might come back. And you might come back stronger than ever. I know that I've spoken to many people. There's been many people that have commented on this channel going, hey, I walked away and, you know, now I'm stronger than, you know, I'm back in magic and I love it more than I ever did before. So there's no problem walking away. That's the first thing. It'll save you money, it'll save you time, and it'll allow you to reevaluate what you want from magic and what you want from your hobby. In terms of, but in terms of Overwhelm, it really kind of just depends on, you know, you're overwhelmed. It might be because, as I say, it's probably not because of what I'm going through, but it might be because of a million different things. But whatever the reason that you're feeling overwhelmed and all you can think of is this thing that's stopping you from doing magic, the piece of advice I can give you with that is reconnect with why you fell in love with magic in the first place. And that's really important. And that's what I've been doing recently. You know, when all of this shit has been going on and all of this horrible stuff has been happening, I reconnected with why I love magic in the first place. So we all remember when we first got into magic, our origin story, right? And when you first get into magic, it's like a bug that bites you, right? You realize that there's this entire world that you weren't even aware of. And there's this entire world that opens up in front of you. I've talked about this before on the channel. It's like in Harry Potter in the first film when Hagrid taps on the wall with his umbrella and the wall opens up and Harry for the first time sees Diagon Alley and he realizes there's this entire world that he just wasn't aware of. It's a little bit like that when you first get into magic. It's all consuming. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. There's magic shops, there's magic conventions, there's like Facebook groups for magicians, there's like thousands of YouTube channels, there's all of this stuff, and it's almost like you want to consume everything, you want to get everything, you want to become the greatest magician of all time, you want to consume everything. It's why so many people have a habit of buying everything. It happens a lot with people that are getting into magic for the first time, because every trailer is new to them. A lot of the time when you've been in magic for as long as me, for example, you can get jaded and you can go, well, that one there, that looks good, but that's obviously a variation of this, and that looks good, but that's actually a variation of this, and that looks good, but I already do this, which is very similar to that, so I'm not going to do that. You kind of become not jaded, but you kind of become more knowledgeable and less enthusiastic in a way, right? You look at the people that have been in magic for a long time, they're not the ones that are like, oh my God, when they're walking around a dealer hall, right? The people that are acting like that are normally the new people in magic, right? And and they buy everything. They buy everything. They probably don't learn it. They buy it, right? Because they, and what I'm trying to say is reconnect to that moment. Find out why you fell in love with magic in the first place and reconnect to it. If it was because you were watching a magician perform, go and watch some videos of that magician perform. Go and watch it on YouTube, or go and find a DVD out, or go and find it on a streaming platform. Go and watch that magician perform. If it was because you bought your first trick and you love performing it, honestly, ask yourself a question. When was the last time you did that trick that brought you so much joy? Go and dig it out from your bottom drawer or buy it again and go and perform it for people. Maybe, you know, I've spoken to lots of people and their favourite thing about getting into magic was performing, showing people these wonderful tricks that they've bought and seeing the wonder in their eyes. And the problem is, and this is a big issue, I'm telling you right now, one of the reasons that people fall in love with magic is because they see all these wonderful tricks, they buy them, they learn them, and they perform them to their partner or their kids or their brother or their sister or their work colleagues or whatever. And they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's fantastic. That's brilliant. And it fills you with glee that you can do this thing that they can't do and they don't know how to do. And it's given them a reaction and you're really happy about that. The problem is a lot of people that get into magic, they perform to the same group of people over and over again. So they don't move outside of that circle. So if you are somebody who first gets into magic and performs to your wife and kids, the more magic you buy, you continue to show it to your wife and kids. And it gets to a point where they kind of start to realize what's going on. Or they start to spot things. They're not being negative. They've just seen so much freaking magic that they're beginning to kind of track what's going on with this, right? And so you stop getting the reactions that you got when you first started. And those reactions are like a drug. They really are. Ask any performer that's on stage, the thing that keeps them going, the thing that really drives them forward is performing, getting that reaction from the audience. Hell, a lot of the time when it comes to actors, actresses, entertainers, comedians, singers, songwriters, dancers, magicians, musicians, it's not about the money because very few people make much money doing entertainment. It can happen, but not always. Magicians tend to get paid more than a lot of other artists. You know, you do it because you get that reaction. And if you're in a situation where you're performing to the same group of people every single time and you're no longer getting that reaction, it's kind of almost like I can think of an analogy, but it's a little bit dirty, but I'm going to go for it. It's the only analogy I can think of. It's like hooking up with a girl. And when you first hook, or a guy, whatever, the first time you hook up with that person and the first time you sleep together, it's incredible. And you're at it like rabbits. And you're constantly just having the time of your life. And this is the best sex I've ever had, right? And then maybe 6 months, a year down the line, at some point, it becomes not as good, or it becomes routine, or wherever it may be. You know, it's not like you have to tear each other's clothes off every second of every single day. It transcends, right? And at that point, that is one of the reasons why marriages split up a lot of the time, because you know, they had a very high sex drive and then that went away, whatever it may be. Like I say, that analogy ran away with me, but you get the point that I'm trying to say. The point I'm trying to say is it's a little bit like that. If you get really excited about performing magic, and the first time you perform to this group of people, they're super excited, and the second time, third time, fourth time, 100th time, they're super excited. At some point, those reactions are not going to be there. And when they're not, it's kind of like, oh, you know, why did I just spend 2 days learning this? Why did I just spend 100 quid buying this trick, spend 2 days watching the tutorial, learning it, just for that person to turn around and go, yeah, it's all right. So one thing that you can do is you can look outside your people, the people that you regularly perform for, which are normally your family and your friends, because they're very accessible and it's an easy thing to do. It will involve you moving out of your comfort zone slightly, but start performing to people that aren't those people. Start performing for people that, you know, you know, I'm not saying go into a bar and start performing for strangers, but start performing to your work colleagues. Go and meet up with some friends from school and show them that you were, you know, get a little reunion going of mates that you used to hang out with and go and perform for them. You know, find somebody else to go and perform for, because that will help you recapture your magic. It really will. It'll help it, because then you're going to get those reactions again that you desire. And then that's going to stop you buying new tricks, because when you find a new group of people to perform for, you can show them all the tricks that they've never seen. You've got a big, massive back catalogue of stuff that you can perform for them. The other thing is set yourself a goal. And this is something that Ryland does all the time. Why does Ryland enter competitions? Why does Ryland constantly put himself out there and put himself into situations where he's having to put an act together? It's because it gives him more drive. So you've all been watching the Ovation to Innovation, the Rymentary. Ry has been putting this orange juice act together, and we've been helping him, and he's been doing it for a few weeks now. The reason he's been doing it is because he's got this competition that he wants to enter. He wants to enter with this act, and it's giving him a date as to when this needs to be ready. And so now he can't just sit there and procrastinate, because he knows he needs to get this ready. Oh, right, okay, I've got 2 weeks now. I need to get this ready. I can't not have it ready. It's 2 weeks' time. So there's that. So give yourself a goal. Give yourself a goal. Go and put yourself out of your comfort zone. Put yourself out of your comfort zone. If you're the sort of person that learns magic but you never perform, make a goal that you're going to go and perform for people. If you do perform, but you just perform for family and friends, make a goal that you perform for strangers. If you perform for strangers and you're happy performing, make a goal that you're going to go and put a 10-minute stage act together, and you're going to go to an open mic night and you're going to perform that 10-minute act on stage in front of a bunch of people. Set yourself some goals. Give yourself some drive. Give yourself a reason to actually do this stuff. And then probably I want to say this because this is very important, which is have fun. Magic's meant to be fun. It's meant to be fun for your audiences, but it's also meant to be fun for you. Have fun. I've had to remind myself about that a lot recently, that it's meant to be fun. And one thing that I've tried to do with all of the stuff that I told you about is just, not read it. Just literally, if I see something come through and I read the first sentence, screen capture it, put it in the folder for the police, and then just archive it. That's it. That's what I'm going to do. Because if I start reading it, I then sink into a slump for like hours. And I reread it, and I reread it, and I reread it. And it means that I don't get anything done. And it pushes everything back that I need to do. And I feel like I'm a bit grumpy then. So I just don't read it. I try not to read it. And sometimes it's not possible, sometimes it's not possible, like when people knock on your door. But a lot of the time it is, just remember that magic's meant to be fun. And any of the bits about magic that for you are not fun, push them to one side. Look into magic and look at all the bits that you don't like, and just don't be involved with those bits. Just be involved with the stuff that you do like. I think that's really important. I don't think there's anything else to say. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to want to quit. It's okay that, you don't love magic anymore. But just ask yourself a question, do you want to continue on this journey? And if you do, then do everything in your power to reinvigorate yourself. That's the most important thing. Go and watch a magic show. Go and just hang out in a magic shop. Message some magicians on Facebook and get into an online jam on Zoom or something. Just do something. Do something. Go to a magic shop and hang out in that magic shop. Go to a place that you've never been before. Go to a magic venue and go watch a show. Go to Smoke and Mirrors. Go to the House of Secrets. Go to the Magic Bar Live. Go somewhere like that and just hang out and try and reinvigorate your love for magic, because magic is awesome. It's all I know. It's all I've been doing pretty much my entire life. Since I was 18 years old, this is all I've been doing. I love magic, I really do. And it's been good to me. And there's aspects of magic, or more specifically the community, that I don't like. And it upsets me. I literally just before I filmed this video, an email came through. But you know what? There's more reasons to be here and love it than there's not. And if that ever gets to the point where I don't love magic anymore, if it gets to the point where I can't deal with it anymore, that's when this Magic TV will end. That's when I'll stop doing it. But that's not going to be anytime soon, because I'm having an absolute blast. And I'm not going to let outside influences affect my decision as to what I do and what I don't do. So yeah, it's not a pity party. Please don't feel sorry for me because I'm dealing with a bunch of shit. That's not what this is about. This video ultimately is about you guys, and for anyone that's watching this that feels like they don't love magic anymore, or feels overwhelmed, or feels like everything's on top of their shoulders, don't worry about it. A lot of people have been there, and it's the old expression, isn't it? You know, there's always, you know, there's it's you know, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. That's one of the things that my first business coach, I've had lots of business coaches. One of my first business coaches, Claire Materan, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. She said all the time, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And she meant that in terms of quitting a business. You know, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But it's the same with magic. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. You know, for as many people that are in magic, there's people that have given up magic. We've all been there where we've been performing at a gig or performing to people and they go, oh, I used to do this years ago, and they do a really bad French drop. They were obviously at one point really into magic in order to do that French drop and know some of the terminology. Oh, you're going to do a double flip. They were obviously at some point into magic, right? But they gave it up. And you know what? Almost exclusively, every time I meet somebody like that, they turn around and they go, I wish I still did it. I miss it. Now, they probably had a good reason to leave magic at that point in time, and perhaps leaving it was the best thing for them. We've talked about that. But it might not have been. And they obviously are kind of regretting it a little bit now. So make up your mind. If you want to quit, that's fine. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Just, you know, remember it's a hobby, and the most important thing is you should have fun with it. So there you go, guys. That's another video in the bag. Do me a favour, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'm going to be back again tomorrow with another video, so make sure that you look out for that. And yeah, that's all I got to say, I think. Oh yeah, join the Netrix, www.thenetrix.com. It's my online streaming platform for magicians. It's accessible right now. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of subscribers, and you can be there as well. But regardless, thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.